Have you ever felt an inexplicable chill run down your spine right in the middle of a simple conversation? Has a profound inner silence ever screamed inside of you? A silence that was louder and more meaningful than any word being spoken. At times, the universe communicates to us through subtle sensations that our logical minds are determined to ignore, but your heart, in its deepest chambers, already knows the truth. There is something deeply and fundamentally unsettling happening when you are right beside someone, and yet, despite their physical presence, you feel utterly and completely alone. It is as if an invisible force is desperately trying to show you a reality that your eyes cannot yet bring into focus. There are signs hidden carefully in the subtext of gestures, concealed within the pauses between words, and tucked away in glances that dart away at the very moment they should be meeting yours. These signals dance on the edge of your consciousness like fleeting shadows. You perceive their movement, but you cannot quite name what they are. It feels as though an ancient voice is whispering warnings that your reason steadfastly refuses to hear. But what if that voice isn't merely your intuition? What if it is something far greater, something divine, attempting to protect you from a path that can only lead to a profound and desolate emptiness? Those specific moments, the ones where you look at the person next to you and feel an undeniable sense that something just doesn't fit, they are not a coincidence. They are fragments of a larger truth that is manifesting itself through details that appear insignificant, but which actually carry the immense weight of revelations that have the power to change everything. A vast, deep canyon separates the experience of merely being accompanied from the state of being truly connected, and your spirit has known this difference long before your mind could ever bring itself to accept what must be accepted. What you are about to discover here may very well shake the foundations you thought were solid rock, and it might call into question the certainties you believed you had fought so hard to conquer. This is because, sometimes, loving someone is not enough. Sometimes, that love needs to coexist with the profound wisdom of recognizing when another person's presence, no matter how cherished or familiar, is fundamentally misaligned with your soul's deepest purpose. And what if you could finally decipher these signs before it becomes too late? If something deep inside of you vibrated as you read these words, if you recognized fragments of your own hidden experience within these lines, then you absolutely need to continue here with me. What is coming next could be the very message your soul has been waiting to hear. Subscribe to the channel, because some truths only reveal themselves to those who are genuinely ready to see them. And you have arrived at this exact moment for a reason that goes far beyond simple chance. Sacred moment occurs in every person's life, that pivotal instant when the veil is torn away and you are permitted to see beyond mere appearances. It is the moment you perceive with clarity that not all that glitters is gold, and that not every smile carries genuine light within it. There are people who come to us cloaked in beautiful promises, intricately wrapped in the sweetest of words, but who carry inside of them an energy that sucks the life from you, that diminishes you, that extinguishes the very flame they should be fanning. And the most terrifying part is that so often, we know deep down, in a place we don't like to visit. We have always known, but we made the choice to ignore the persistent whispers of our own intuition. Have you ever had that strange experience of being in a conversation where the spoken words say one thing, but the energy in the room says something completely different? It's as if two distinct dialogues are happening simultaneously, the visible one and the invisible one. The person speaks of love, but something deep within your gut contracts. They demonstrate care, but you somehow feel more vulnerable and exposed than you do protected. It is as if a secret language is being spoken through their gestures, their tone of voice, their strategic silences, language that your spirit understands with perfect fluency, even as your mind scrambles to find rational explanations for the profound and undeniable discomfort. Some relationships act like distorted mirrors. Instead of reflecting the truth of who you are, they project a twisted, smaller, and more fragile version of yourself back at you. In the presence of this distortion, you find yourself questioning perceptions that were once crystal clear, and you begin doubting feelings that have always been your most reliable guides. It's as if your own inner voice is being gradually silenced, its volume turned down and replaced by the echoes of someone else's opinions, by expectations that were not born in you, and by dreams that are not your own. And in the midst of this subtle, slow process of erosion, you begin to lose yourself without even realizing it is happening. The most devastating part is the realization that you have become smaller in the presence of the one who should have made you grow, that your vibrant colors have turned dull and opaque next to the one who should have made you shine, that your dreams have been systematically downsized to fit into the small box you were offered, a box that was never ever designed to contain the sheer immensity you carry within you. It is as though you have accepted living a compressed, watered-down version of your own existence, tragically believing that this is what love is, when in reality, it may be its exact opposite. But there is something even deeper happening here, something that transcends human psychology and touches the realm of the spiritual. Because when God loves you, and He loves you with an intensity our finite minds can never fully comprehend, He places invisible guardians around your life, signs, warnings, small miracles disguised as coincidences. And sometimes, these very signs come through that inexplicable restlessness you feel when you are on the wrong path, with the wrong person, building something that was never planned in the eternal dimensions of your true destiny. There is a truth that few people possess the courage to truly face. Not every person who enters our life has come to add value to it. Some arrive as lessons in disguise, others as tests we are meant to overcome. And some, the most dangerous of all, arrive as imitations, so perfect of what we are looking for that we only discover the difference when we are already deeply and hopelessly entangled in their web of illusions. It's as if the universe is testing our capacity for discernment, our ability to distinguish between what is genuine and what is merely a convincing performance of the happiness we know we deserve. Have you ever noticed how certain people seem to possess a unique and unnerving gift for making you question your own sanity? They are masters in the subtle art of planting seeds of doubt about your most basic perceptions of reality. When you express a feeling, they will find a clever way to invalidate it without ever seeming like that's what they are doing. When you share a dream, they can skillfully diminish it, all while wearing a smile. It is a subtle, almost imperceptible violence that happens in the subtext of everyday gestures. You walk away from these interactions feeling confused and disoriented, as if you have just lost a debate you didn't even know you were having. What's most frightening is how they can make you feel grateful for the mere crumbs of attention they offer, as if you don't deserve the full banquet of love and respect that your soul is crying out for. They possess a perverse talent for making you believe that your emotional needs are excessive, that your personal boundaries are a sign of inflexibility, that your sensitivity is nothing more than a weakness. And so, slowly, you begin to adjust your expectations downward, to shrink your dreams, to muffle your own inner voice, until one day you wake up and you no longer recognize the person staring back at you from the mirror of your own life. A vast canyon exists between healthy compromise and between yielding on minor issues and completely disappearing as a person, between loving someone and losing yourself entirely within that love. But when you are in the middle of the situation, when you are emotionally invested, these lines become blurry. You start to accept as normal things that should make you run for the hills. You normalize the abnormal, you justify the unjustifiable, and you find excuses for behaviors that your intuition had already identified as desperate, flashing red flags. And then you realize something that cuts deeper than any physical wound. You have become an accomplice in your own diminishment. You have been an active participant in the process of extinguishing your own light, not because you are weak or naive, but because the human heart has an infinite capacity for hope, and sometimes that hope becomes a trap when it is directed at someone who has neither the capacity nor the intention of honoring it. It is like watering a plant that was already dead, hoping that it will somehow blossom through the sheer force of your dedication. There is something profoundly revealing in the way a person reacts to your moments of pure joy. Observe this when something wonderful happens in your life, when you achieve an important goal, when your inner light shines just a little bit brighter. What is their very first reaction? Some people are able to celebrate your happiness as if it were their own, but there are others who will always find subtle ways to diminish your glow, as if your light somehow threatens their own. It's as if an invisible competition is constantly at play, one where your happiness becomes a personal defeat for them. The wrong person has a frightening ability to turn your moments of victory into opportunities to make you feel guilty. They can skillfully make you question whether you truly deserve to be happy, whether you aren't being selfish by celebrating, whether you shouldn't be more preoccupied with their problems than with your own achievements. This is a form of manipulation, so subtle that you don't even notice when you started apologizing for being blessed. or when you began to hide your own joys so as not to inconvenience the very person who should be standing by your side, celebrating every single one of your victories. But there is something even more revealing. Observe how this person speaks about other people when they are not present. The way someone refers to others in their absence is a direct window into their soul. If they can destroy reputations with a smile, if they plant seeds of distrust about people who love you, if they always find flaws in those who support you, this is a preview of how they speak about you when you are not around. It's as if they are cultivating a garden of discord around your life, slowly isolating you from the very people who truly matter. A dark pattern often repeats itself. The wrong person will always find a way to make you feel emotionally indebted to them. They transform acts of kindness into future charges, love into a currency of exchange, and care into a form of disguised control. You find yourself walking on eggshells around them, carefully calculating your words, measuring your emotions, as if your own spontaneity were a threat to the peace of the relationship. It's like living in an emotional minefield where any false step could detonate an explosion of drama, blackmail, or punitive silence. And maybe the clearest sign of all is this: you feel more like yourself when they are not around. Your breathing becomes lighter, your smile more genuine, your voice more spontaneous. It is as if your very essence has been compressed to fit into the tiny space that they consider acceptable for you to occupy. When you are alone or with other people, you remember who you truly aren't. The difference is so stark that it becomes frightening. It's as if you had been hypnotized into believing that your diminished version is your real version, when in fact it is only a pale shadow of the person you were created to be. A language exists that transcends all words. It is the language of spirit, speaking to spirit. And when you are with the wrong person, this invisible communication becomes a constant, screaming alert. Your body knows the truth long before your mind can accept it. Your cells contract, your energy disperses, your sleep becomes restless. It's as if your entire being is trying to communicate a truth that your reason is not yet ready to process. There is an ancient wisdom deep inside you that recognizes when something is out of order, when a presence is not vibrating on the same frequency as your deepest essence. The wrong person has a peculiar capacity to make you feel empty, even when you are supposedly being loved by them. It's as if their love is such a convincing imitation that it almost fools you. But something fundamental is missing: that soul-deep connection that truly nourishes, that makes you feel seen, known, and understood in layers you didn't even know you had. Instead, you feel as if you are playing a role in someone else's life, being loved for the version of you they can tolerate, not for the explosive totality of who you truly are. There are moments of devastating clarity when you realize you have been living an edited life, that you have censored your words, domesticated your dreams, and erased parts of yourself just to maintain the harmony of a relationship that requires your diminishment to function. It's as if you agreed to live in black and white so as not to outshine someone who cannot handle the intensity of your colors. And the most tragic part is that you did all this thinking it was love, when in reality, you were actively participating in your own invisibility. But God, and here we touch the sacred God, knows you completely, and He loves you in your totality. He did not create you to be a compressed version of yourself. He planted seeds of greatness inside you that can only flourish when you are in the right soil, with the right people, under the right circumstances. And when you are with someone who is not for you, these seeds lie dormant, waiting for the moment you will have the courage to seek the garden where they can finally germinate. There is a silent prayer that your soul makes every single day, even when you don't realize it. God, remove me from where I am not meant to be, and lead me to where I need to go. This prayer manifests itself through that inexplicable restlessness, through those dreams that insist on returning, through that persistent feeling that you are living someone else's life. This is God answering you through signs that only those who are truly paying attention can decipher, because He loves you too much to let you wither away in relationships that drain your essence instead of feeding it. A sacred moment arrives in every soul's journey, when the universe stops and whispers a question that can no longer be ignored. Are you living the life you were destined for, or are you merely surviving in the life you have accepted? It is a question that cuts through all the justifications, all the desperate hopes for change, all the maybe one day they'll be different, or maybe I'm asking for too much. It is a question that demands an honesty so brutal that most people prefer to drown it out with busyness, distractions, or anything that will avoid the confrontation with this truth pulsing in the center of their chest. The wrong person is not necessarily a bad person. Sometimes they are just someone who is incapable of truly seeing you. Someone who looks at you and perceives only fragments, pieces that make sense within the limitation of their own perspective. They might even love you within their own capacity. But this love functions like a gilded cage, beautiful from a distance, but one that prevents you from flying to the heights for which you were born. It is as if they love the idea of you, but cannot handle the intensity of your complete reality. There is a devastating difference between being chosen and being tolerated, between being celebrated and being accepted with reservations, between being seen as a gift and being treated as a renovation project. The wrong person has an unconscious tendency to make you feel that you are almost enough, almost perfect, almost compatible, almost deserving of unconditional love. It is an almost that keeps you in a constant state of trying to prove your worth, of being better, of finally reaching a standard that moves like a mirage in the desert, always close, but never attainable. But the most liberating truth you can ever embrace is this: you do not need to shrink yourself to fit into anyone else's life. You do not have to dim your light to make others feel comfortable in their own darkness. You do not have to carry the emotional responsibility for people who cannot handle your authenticity. There is someone, somewhere in this world, who will look at you and think, finally, you're the one I've been waiting for. Someone who will love not only your moments of strength, but also your vulnerability. Not just your successes, but also your scars. And until that meeting happens, until you cross paths with the one who will recognize your soul at first glance, it is better to be alone than to be accompanied by someone who makes you feel lonely. It is better to preserve your energy for the one who will know how to honor it than to waste it trying to teach someone how to value you. Because loneliness is temporary, but what we do with our essence while we wait for what is ours by divine right, that echoes in eternity. A timeless spiritual principle provides the most accurate test for any relationship. Instead of just the common phrase, by their fruits you will know them, consider the very specific list found in the book of Galatians, chapter 5. It says the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Now, observe the fruits that are sprouting from your life as a result of this relationship. Are you becoming more loving, more joyful, more at peace? Or is the harvest one of anxiety, conflict, insecurity, impatience, and drama? The fruits do not lie. They are the silent, irrefutable testimony to the kind of energy being planted in the garden of your existence. When God allows certain people into our lives, sometimes it is not for them to stay, but to show us with absolute clarity what we do not want, what we do not deserve, and what we can no longer accept. It is as if He uses these very relationships as mirrors to reveal to us the toxic patterns we need to break, the boundaries we need to establish, and the values we must honor without negotiation. There are sacred lessons hidden even in the most painful relationships. Lessons we only learn when we have the courage to see beyond the pain and recognize the wisdom being offered. There comes a moment of divine revelation when you realize that your worth is non-negotiable, that you are not an option among many, but a unique and irreversible choice for the one who truly has eyes to see who you are. That you do not need to compete for anyone's attention, because the one who is destined for you will choose you every single day, without hesitation, without conditions, without the need for you to constantly prove you are worthy of being loved. This is a shift in consciousness that changes everything, from begging for love to recognizing that you are the love someone else is praying to find. The right person will not make you question your sanity, your intuition, or your perception of reality. They will confirm what your heart has always known about you, that you are wonderful exactly as you are, that your dreams are valid, that your emotions are legitimate, that your essence is a gift to be celebrated, not merely tolerated. With the right person, you don't need to translate your feelings or explain your needs. There is a common language that flows naturally between you, an understanding that transcends all words. And when you finally have the courage to let go of what is not yours, to release the one who cannot love you in the way you deserve to be loved, you create the necessary space for the miracle to happen. You align your life with God's plans for your plans for hope and a future, not for harm. Because God loves you far too much to let you wither away in relationships that diminish your light, instead of making it shine with the intensity He planned when He created you with such care and purpose. And now, right here, in the silence between one truth and the next, you can feel it, can't you? That shiver that runs down your spine when your soul recognizes what it has always known but didn't have the courage to admit. It's as if each word has been a key, opening locks you didn't even know existed inside of you. There is something moving in the depths of your being, a sacred restlessness, a clarity that is uncomfortable because it demands courage, a truth that liberates even when it hurts. You are no longer the same person who began this video. Something has been awakened, something has been touched. Something that was sleeping has now opened its eyes. Perhaps in this moment you are feeling a mixture of relief and fear. Relief for finally having words for feelings that have for so long inhabited only the realm of the inexplicable. And fear because recognizing these signs means that decisions must be made. It means that pretending not to see is no longer an option. It means you have arrived at that sacred crossroads, where life is divided into a before and an after, between who you were and who you are now becoming. And that is both terrifying and liberating at the same time, like all true births are. Instead of the common serenity prayer, hold on to the profound wisdom of Proverbs 3:5-6, which says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." Let this be your mantra to guide your next steps, because you cannot change other people, but you can change what you accept in your life. You cannot control how others see you, but you can control how you see yourself. You cannot guarantee that everyone will love you as you deserve, but you can guarantee that you will no longer accept crumbs when you deserve the entire banquet. And if you have made it this far, if these words have found an echo in the sacred territory of your heart, then you need to know that you are not alone on this journey. There is a community of awakened souls who have also chosen the path of authenticity, even when it is the hardest path. Like this video, if it touched something real within you, let that like be your yes to a truer version of your life. Share it with someone who needs to hear these words. Sometimes we are God's instruments for awakening others who are ready to see the light. And subscribe to the channel, because this conversation is only just beginning, and there are so many more truths waiting to find your heart. Prepare to receive them. Your soul knows you are here for a reason, and that reason has a name: divine purpose. Manifesting through the courage to choose what you truly deserve.